Hey, Chrissy here. I am a landscape architect and the owner of Kismet Design. I am a very process-driven designer, and I love sharing what I do and how I do it with anyone who's interested. Reaching your true potential and achieving your own personal goals will not happen by chance. You have to set your intentions, make a plan, and do the work. Thank you for joining me to nerd out on design. Don't forget to subscribe and to share too. Let's create something great together. Today, we are going to talk about making a show garden. There are many different garden shows, from the most prestigious ones like the Chelsea Flower and Garden Show to small local home shows and everything in between. These shows are not only a good way to gain visibility for business and marketing purposes, but they are so much fun, albeit they are a lot of work. I have spoken before about what goes into one of these gardens, and I will link that episode in the show notes. You can listen to that if you haven't already. Well, this airs in October, and in just 4 short months, the Seattle Convention Center will become the home to the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. It used to be the Northwest Flower and Garden Show, so I will probably divert to calling it that because it's just stuck in my head that way. But if you Google it, it's the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. For those of you that have been, you know how amazing it is. If you haven't gone before, I highly recommend that you make plans to attend. This upcoming show, I will be creating a display garden, and I have been hard at work creating a design and talking to potential vendors to see my vision come to life. This episode will be the first of at least a few, tuning you into the process of creating the garden for the 2025 show. First, though, mark your calendars for February 19th through the 23rd. I would love for you to come see me. So, as you might guess, in much of my spare time has been working on that display garden. I'm excited at how it is coming together, but it is a lot of work. I have an amazing team of collaborators helping me bring it all together. Although in the previous episode, I talked about what it takes to create a show garden, I thought it would be interesting to do a series of more of an in-the-moment updates on the progress of creating this upcoming garden. So let's see. I think it was May or June when I made the commitment to designing a garden. And although it was against my better judgment, I signed up without a commitment from a contractor. Super stressful. Don't do that if you have the choice. Thankfully, that came a few months later, and too much of my relief. The next step was to start building a vision of what I wanted to create. Now, this always sounds fun, but it is actually surprisingly difficult because there are so many possibilities. I didn't have a client telling me what they wanted, or a site with restrictions, views, existing conditions to inform the design. It is truly a blank canvas. It is literally a concrete floor, blank for the taking. The only limitations are some weight restrictions based on the convention center, and a big one is cost. It is much easier spending someone else's money for what they want than dreaming up all the possibilities and looking at the price tag of the show garden you want to create, knowing that it's just going to get torn down. It's a tricky balance. But what I did is target my ideal location on the show floor and use the footprint of the garden from the previous year as kind of a basis to work from. I then created a fictitious client with a set of wants, needs, and wishes that really aligns with my target client anyways. That helped create some boundaries around the design. And then, I drew up at least 20 or 30 sketches of the space before I felt like it was coming together. A few ideas would create too much wasted material. A few ideas would take too long to construct, and the show only gives us 3 days to build. A few ideas were unfortunately just too costly to build and get materials for. I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't building something that would have a lot of materials going straight into a dumpster when it was done. As many materials that I could use that can be repurposed or sold, the better, both financially and sustainably. This is about the time that the contractor came on board, and through reviewing the ideas and rough design with him, we targeted some materials that were either already on hand, able to be received by loaned materials or discounted materials, or materials that one of us could easily use on future projects. Then the calling, emailing, and asking around started to get more collaborators and vendors on board. In reality, I got a lot of no's, and I won't lie, I was really starting to get down about it and a bit concerned. But about a month ago, that all started to shift, and I was hearing more yeses and more maybes. And it really helped me feel a little bit better, a little bit more optimistic, and a little less like I was running uphill. Now, as I look into November on the cusp, I have all of my materials locked in except one art piece that I've got a maybe for. Hopefully, that maybe turns into a yes. So keep your fingers crossed for me. And then I have the contractor support locked in. And now my focus is on plant material. In planning for the plant material, the focus is on plants that naturally look good that time of year, which honestly is pretty limited, and then filling it in with forced plant material, be it bulbs that have been forced to bloom early or plants that have been brought into a greenhouse to be protected from the elements and given a little more heat or light to leaf out or bloom earlier than they would naturally. But there's only so much that you can force. We're not going to get anything that blooms in August to bloom in February, but we can push the envelope by a month or two. This forcing element is the biggest variable in the plants because you do not know what plant material will cooperate and what won't. So there's a lot of guessing and a lot of flexibility. So that planting design has to be flexible and a little mushy, which stresses me out, but we will make it work. I hope this was interesting. Stay tuned for more updates and reach out if you have questions you want me to answer in the next Flower and Garden Show update episode. I'd love to bring you into the process and my thoughts and kind of how things are going. I can't wait to show you the design, and I really hope you come visit. I also want to remind you that I'm putting together a calendar for next year's episodes and classes, and I would love, love, love your input. So reach out to me, either email, social, or my website with any topic suggestions, or even things that I've already covered that are worth revisiting and diving in deeper. Until then, take care. To wrap up, I want to thank you for your time. I hope the ideas discussed today have left you feeling excited and energized. As I build both my business and my life, I value the support and feedback you provide. I would love for you to reach out to me to let me know what you think, give me ideas, or just to connect. Please don't forget to subscribe and also share with a friend. Until next time, go create something wonderful.